Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is time for another jaunt into the mystical realm of the Witch Doctor. In Diablo 3, and Reaper of Souls has released. The expansion is, yes, out now at last, meaning I now have access to Adventure Mode and Act 5. Fun times. So I've gone back a little bit here. Gone backwards in questing, because I now have a new artisan, the Mystic. And I'm going to go ahead and record a bit of her dialogue. I'm doing this on this character, but I've also just recently recorded 2 videos for the Crusader, the new class that just came out, because I really wanted to try it. It seemed like fun, and since he's the new kid on the block, it seemed like something that might be worth watching for some people. So yeah, I decided to do that. So this might be a bit of doubling up of content because I'm doing this, but I really want to see also the Witch Doctor's conversations with her as well. So I figured that this would be an interesting time to do so. Before I do that, real quick, I do want to show, since I did change things up a little bit after the last video, I've moved to Jaunt on Spirit Walk rather than the one that gave mana back. Why? Because, well, Corpse Spiders and Locust Swarm are already giving me back quite a bit of mana, so we'll be going with this. All right, let us talk to Miriam, and let's see if there's anything new here. So we have all about Miriam.
Geldo, how sweet of you to ask. My people, the Vetchin, are nomads, always traveling, looking for the land we might settle. All of us have the sight, but few have it as strong as myself. You know, men have always pursued me for my visions. Well, for things other than my visions. But everyone wants to know what the future holds.
The spirits will show me the future when it is time for me to see it.
Well, I'm sure the spirits can guide you much better than I. Of course, I'm kidding. The spirits are all fine and well, but you'll be happy to have me by your side during the trying times ahead.
Quite different from what I got for the Crusader. I kind of like that. So, very sage, the Witch Doctor. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next quest and see if she has any other conversation options. We appear to have a conversation here about the Skeleton King.
Is there no justice in this world? Leoric bravely withstood Diablo's attempts to possess him, and look what he got in return. Madness and a cursed death.
Whether it be justice or not, he must be laid to rest once again.
So that's our conversation for just before fighting Leoric the Skeleton King. So there is that. I do believe that is a conversation that is missable, because we'll go to the next one and we'll see that that's not there anymore. Alright, so we're back on the Sword of the Stranger, and oddly enough, starting Sword of the Stranger didn't give me a new conversation option. After talking to Deckard and the Stranger, I finally got a new option though here in the difficult path.
Do not question the path you are on. It will lead you through things that will try your very soul, but you'll always have me to talk to.
And where would I be without your guidance?
You pretend you are a rock, but I know the softness you don't want anyone to see. Why else would you continue to come and talk to Miriam?
I like her. I don't think she'll replace Covetous Shin in my heart, but I think she will be amusing. So now we continue on with the Sword of the Stranger, into the Cemetery of the Forsaken, out into the Fields of Misery. With the new mana build that we have from the last level. We are down to master level. We are no longer doing torment. So things should go a bit quicker.
If there's a sword here, we will find it.
I still failed to upgrade Cormac, I do believe. I believe I once again missed out on that opportunity. Oh, I forgot my Gargantuan. Go out there. Spam the zombie bears.
I do not have enough mana.
Zombie bears, spam them here and there and everywhere. There is no skill that is comparable to zombie bears. It's working for the most part, I would say. I mean, my mana is increasing, and I am able to spam a bit. Get a few spiders out, we can just see how much I can actually put out some bears. Fortune smiles upon me. Definitely has some really good AoE potential. Can't really speak for its single target though.
I do not have enough mana.
Of course, if I want to do more damage, I need to go in there, use my soul harvest. Not like so, because I hit the wrong button again. But like so. Get in there. Pop a few bears. And the killing potential is immediately noticeable.
Need more mana.
I'm not really having a hard time of killing things anymore. Although I am still able to take quite a bit of damage if I'm not careful, and it would appear that this might be a test. Oh yes. This will be a test, alright. I've got myself a key warden.
Need more time. Heal me.
Ow! And I just died. Technically, I just died. Okay. I forget that these things are available even... Jeez, that hurts. I forget that these key wardens are available now beyond Inferno, or what, you know, since Inferno doesn't exist. I kind of wish he wouldn't show up until Torment difficulty, though. Because he's going to be very difficult. He's already got several affixes on him. I could try and avoid him. Oh, sheesh. I'm not sure. Well, let's try. I believe my passive is back, so I can probably technically die. I don't want to. Just trying to get all the damage out there I can. Alright. Alright, get a little bit of damage from him. Soul Harvest. He is taking a bit of damage. Cormac healing me. Thank you, Cormac. Good friend you are. Good friend. Alright, let's go ahead and get a few more zombie bears in his face. And he's going to run out of range, so... he's going to want to play hard to get. And I'm going to chase him down like Pepe Le Pew. Oh... Is it Odeg? Yes, oh, Odeg! Come to Pepe. Go get him! You've got your buff on, Gargantuan. Don't come back to me! Go forth and destroy, maim! Eat his face! Hell, give him a hug or something, I don't know, but why are you coming back to me? Oh yeah, he's gonna be difficult about this whole process here.
I need mana. Not ready yet.
Back. I'm doing okay, actually. I'm not in any serious danger just yet. I did have that one hit that severely wounded me and pretty much would have killed me if it weren't for my passive. Uh-oh. Speaking of which, let's try not to proc the passive. I'm going to go ahead and get a whole bunch of locusts out there.
I strike at your heart. Needs more time. Do not have enough mana.
I think I'm going to be able to do it. I'm pretty confident that were this on Torment still, I would have died. Possibly several times over. Gosh darn it, come back here.
Need healing.
Really? Alright. We're done. We're done. Uh-oh. That ice is gonna hurt. What's enchanted? Oh, there's a plague vat near me. Yeah, on Torment, I'm pretty sure this would have been a death. Because dealing with Odeg and a elite plague bat is no fun. Even now, it's no fun. Whoop. Now, while this isn't particularly a good single target spec, I think that the combination of mana back from the locusts and from the spiders is allowing me to spam the bears enough to make it work better than it might have without it. Just because I can hit it more often.
That was a worthy foe. Glorious.
Glorious! I've lost count of how much glory and foes that worthy and... Cormac talks a lot. Right, that makes me happy that that went well. So I feel like this difficulty is probably going to treat me a lot better than Torment did. Of course, the leveling has slowed down significantly. Even with Torment, the difficulty has slowed down significantly. The 50% and then subsequent 100% buff to experience for the week and then weekend leading up to the release of Reaper of Souls certainly caused the levels to jump like crazy. It was a madhouse as far as experience is concerned. A madhouse, I tell you! But now, things are a bit normal, so we'll probably not see near as many levels at this point. In fact, it might come to a point where I'll have to bring it back up to Torment or something. We'll see, we'll see. As I get higher and higher in level and the gear becomes a bit more frequent, I'll reevaluate it. I will definitely reevaluate it. For now, though, this feels a lot better. I'm liking this. There hasn't been any kind of huge outcry yet. This is better for my heart, my stress levels. This is better for everything. And it feels good to be able to burst some things down again. But I mean, it's obviously, from we saw from the fight with Odeg, is not going to be just a walk in the park. It's going to be a walk in the fields of misery, obviously. But there's still going to be things I have to watch out for and be careful of. Alright, let's go ahead and take a look at some of the things I picked up, since I did pick up some possible upgrades here. Nothing here on the gloves, it doesn't look like. I did get some armor, which has some nice armor on it, has some intelligence, but it's less than what I'm already wearing, so that didn't proc very well for me. Looks like no major stat changes. Oh, here we have some boots. Intelligence, vitality, and movement speed. That's quite nice. I lose regeneration, though. Sacrifice damage. Oh, they're both sacrifice... Oh. Alright. And no. So, you know, when it comes to sacrifice damage, if you didn't catch the Mystic video I put out, I kind of talked about how enchanting works and itemization in general works. So you've got your headpiece and you've got your feet. And these two typically will proc with secondary skills. Although in this case, Sacrifice is a terror skill. In most cases, there are differences for different classes, but the feet and the helm usually are secondary. Primary spenders, they'll increase your damage. The belt and the pants will typically roll with primary abilities, your mana generators or your resource generators. So belt and pants are usually primaries, feet and head usually secondaries. The chest piece can drop with different types of damage increases. Now usually the chest piece will have stats drop on it that the other two sets do not drop. But again, it's going to vary per class. That is what I have seen though as an average. Now, so when you're looking to make a build, those are the things you're going to be looking at. If you want to focus on a specific ability, primary or secondary, those are the armor pieces you might want to look at. Maybe you're going to be gambling, maybe you're going to be crafting, or maybe you're looking to enchant your gear to have some better stats on it. Now, the other thing you can do to boost your stats and to boost your gear is going to be your bracers and your amulets. As you can already see, my amulet has area damage and poison damage on it. That's exactly what you're going to get out of amulets and bracers. You're going to get elemental damage. You can get physical damage and elemental damage. So you can boost up a skill and then boost up its element based on whatever rune you're using. So if I were to look at these stats now, kind of see if I have anything, I do have Sacrifice, which I'm not going to build around that. I just really don't want to build around that right now. But I do have Poison skills, deal 6% more damage here, and I do have Poison skills, deal 5% more damage here. So if I were smart, I would switch these out, anything I have out right now, to Poison, because I've got what looks to be about an 11% damage increase. Right, so is that, no, not the Khazra Den, but we found the lost mine. Okay. So what I'm going to do is a decent build, but let's go ahead and change it back up. We're going to go back to, I think I'll go to Splinters actually, try and do some damage, get some poison there. I may continue to use Zombie Charger, I kind of like him. Unfortunately, Pile On is physical, so I'm not going to get a huge buff to Pile On if I decide to use Zombie Charger and that's a shame, because that's one of my hardest hitting abilities. I might go to Zombie Charger Undeath. I've only got about 25% until the next level, so whatever I change up is only going to be temporary. So let's just go ahead and do that for now, and I'll get my mana back. I'll just keep everything else the same.
Thank you for helping me fight the darkness. To contend with evil is the essence of what it means to be a temple.
Focus is good, but do not let it narrow. I do not have enough mana.
Alright, this is working. This should give me a bit more damage until the next level. Lots of burrowing leapers coming at me, apparently. Did I get a one-hander at least I could give to Cormac? No, I didn't. Nothing specific. Okay. Need to pay attention to that. I'm not too worried, though, because I will be very soon finding Lyndon the Scoundrel and ultimately replacing Cormac with him. So, topic of conversation today. I feel like I just want to talk about Reaper. I've been rather enjoying Reaper of Souls. As I mentioned, I put out I have two Crusader videos recorded. As of right now, I haven't even edited them. I haven't put them online. Those will be out before this video comes out because I want to put them up in the order I recorded them. So you'll probably see those unless you're not deciding not to follow that and just following this. You know what? If that's what you want to do, that's fine. But those are out, and I've been enjoying the Crusader. I rather like him. Let's go ahead and fully explore just to be safe here. Rather like the Crusader. I haven't gotten him very far. I think I got up to getting the first law, which is kind of an aura like a monk has. And it has been fun. He seems to be a character focused around mostly AoE. He doesn't seem to have a lot of single target. But again, I haven't gotten him too far, so there could be some changes to that down the road. I really do like the fact that he can wield a two-handed weapon and a shield at the same time. That's kind of neat. Really opens up some interesting possibilities there.
Won't go down easily.
If you don't mind the slow attack speed, it can work in your favor. And if you like frozen orbs, and there's lots of them right here, right now, if you want to kind of experience that. I don't, though. I'm going to get out of that. Quill demons. Yes, I just had to come and explore, didn't I? Yes, I did. Well, I have a Cormac, and he's going to heal me, and I also have a healing well. We're going to save that for now. Get some locusts out there, shall we? Uh-oh. Get out of that. Uh-oh. Holy crap. What is going on? How did so many of those things get put out at one time, I ask you?
I need mana.
Okay, even with the locust out there, I'm not getting a ton back. Let's try and get that to spread. Because I could really use the additional mana. Back. I do have my spirit walk for situations like this. As long as I stay alive long enough to get a health globe, or for Cormac to heal me. Or heck, just even long enough to get my own potion. I'm feeling good. As long as I can have that type of survivability. Then what else do you really need? But yes, I'm rather enjoying the Crusader. I enjoyed all of Act 5, so I'm really looking forward to getting to Act 5 with Rafiki here. I think it's going to be a great journey. It's huge, though, so I know it's going to take a while to get through Act 5 on this series, because it took me a while to get through Act 5 just playing it normally. I was going through everything, and ultimately at the end, I normally like to complete things, but even at the end, I was starting to skip some things, or skip some monsters anyway. I was trying to get every event I could, but I still skipped some monster packs, just because there are so many monster packs. The density in Act 5 just gets shot through the roof. So the monster density, like, if you're not happy with monster density here, then Act 5, there's just some places that are so totally packed. It's ridiculous, and I just finally said, I need to get to the end. I need to fight Malthael and be done with it, and I ultimately beat it, unlocked Adventure Mode, which Adventure Mode has been pretty fun, too. Adventure Mode also opens up monster density, and leveling in Adventure Mode is very quick, almost like the last few videos you saw with the 50% and 100% experience bonus, because there's so many monsters that your experience is just going up in each area that you visit, going up much higher than it normally would. And then on top of that, if you decide to do the bounties that are in Adventure Mode, there's a lot of experience there. So you could very easily level exceptionally quickly using the new Adventure Mode system. And so if you're tired of doing the story, you don't really care about doing the story. Like me, I like doing the story because I like seeing each character's different responses. But if you're not into that, you have that option now. You can go to any act you want. There's minimal loading between them, so it honestly does feel a lot like D2 did, where you just kind of go in, go where you want. If you're in a group, you can be in different acts if you want to be. I mean, it's better if you're all in the same place because you'll all get the bounties. But yeah, it feels good. I rather like it. Now, it's not going to be everyone's cup of tea, I'm sure. There are people that are just done with Diablo. And that happens. But I think for a lot of us, this feels good. You know, I know for me it does. I've been very happy with the legendary drop rates. I've been finding so many legendaries, and not so much that it feels too much, like it feels overwhelming. I'm actually kind of wishing I was finding more in some cases, like my level 70s. I really need some gear to be able to get into the higher difficulties. I need to find some more. And while the gear I find may not be an upgrade at the time, they're certainly still good items. They're just slightly worse than what I had. Alright, we hit level 34. We're going to get a Horrify rune, the Face of Death. Yes. Face Death. Mass Confusion, Devolution, and Fetish Ambush for Fetish Army. Well, let's do it. I've already got a lot of fetishes on me. Let's go ahead and see what we've got. So, the voodoo that you do will be the Fetish Army and Fetish Ambush. Each fetish deals 250% weapon damage as physical to any nearby enemies as it is summoned. So, we have Fetish Armies, which just normally summons a whole bunch of fetishes, which is great. 5 dagger-wielding fetishes.
Why is that?
But not only that, but the Fetish Ambush is basically an AoE around me that does 250 weapon damage when they're summoned. So go ahead and put that on. I am going to lose the Gargantuan because of that. We'll go ahead and go to Mass Confusion. We get Devolution. Enemies killed while confused have a 50% chance to spawn a zombie dog. So I'm noticing there are several skills that have a chance of getting you zombie dogs if you don't wish to have zombie dogs on your bar. So I could use this not only as a Mass Confusion, but as a chance to get more dogs. We're going to go ahead and put that right on here. And then defensive, we have Horrify. So I'm going to lose my Spirit Walk. I'll have to be careful, but I can at least get enemies to run away from me. This increases the radius to 24 yards. That's quite a bit. I mean, if we go back, let's kind of go back to Zombie Charger here. I may actually go into Acid Cloud, I'm thinking, just to kind of keep my distance at this point, since I don't have Spirit Walk. I really don't have an escape move now, so I kind of want to be able to keep my distance, and Acid Cloud is really good for distance compared to, say, Zombie Charger. So we look at the Acid Cloud, and the Acid Rain, that also says 24 yards. So we kind of look at this, Horrify 24 yards, Acid Cloud 24 yards. That was a huge area, practically, you know, that's the whole middle of the screen there, just huge area, will clear everything out. So that might work very well for a defensive ability. And of course I have Mass Confusion. So I have 2 ways of getting out. Even though I don't have a movement skill, I've got 2 ways of getting out. And that's good because I don't have the Gargantuan to take the enemy threat anymore. So I think I'm going to go with Blob Bomb because that's going to constantly get more damage out there with the blobs. And it's going to basically work well with the poison damage I have on my gear. Speaking of gear, anything good? No, doesn't look like it. Not even the belt. Sad. Alright. Oh, wait, what about this? Fetish Army Shoulders apparently can also get some stats. I forgot about that. So, it looks like Grasp of the Dead and Fetish Army. Each class I know fares a little bit differently. You know, I do know that a lot of the primary skills, you know, because I don't have a list in front of me, obviously. I do know that the primary skills, your generators, are almost always going to be belt and pants. For several classes, I've seen it be boots and helm for the primary spenders. In this case, there are some skills you'll get from shoulders and armor, and that's great. I actually wish I would have remembered that the shoulders had them because I put out the Mystic video and I put a note about the armor. I forgot to put a note about the shoulders. There are several pieces that can roll with different affixes. I'm not sure if gloves can. I'm going to be quite honest. I believe gloves have so many other stats on them that a skill enhancement is not one of them. And these two, the amulet and the bracer, seem to be the ones that always gave me elemental damages. I haven't really seen on too much else. Now, that's not including these class-specific weapons. Now, class-specific weapons and offhands can, of course, roll certain increases as well. So that's something to keep an eye out based on what kind of items you have when you're re-rolling. All right, let's go ahead and get going. That's an interesting. I'm kind of going back to that. Fetish Army, I'm only going to get every 2 minutes. So something like this, which gives me a 15% increase in Fetish Army, is nice. Now, if you look at this, I'm going to lose 6.7% damage if I were to use this because of the intelligence drop. Well, you technically, when I use Fetish Army, this is going to be something of a 10% or more increase. I usually just subtract the raw number, so I would say it'd be a little less than 10% increase to the damage of Fetish Army. But that's the thing, is Fetish Army is just an occasional thing I'm going to use, so this is still going to be DPS loss. Now, if this were an increase to Acid Cloud, or an increase to maybe even my Poison Dart, then I might think of that as a damage increase, even though the damage stats at the bottom say it's a decrease. I don't think I'm going to go with that, though. Although, considering that my current shoulders has Grasp of the Dead damage, that's something I might want to think about putting on my bar again. Alright. Alright, there's the Horrify. You can see it goes out quite a ways. Alright, I put down the Confusion, and I've killed several enemies, and now I have 3 zombie dogs. That works out pretty well. If you've got a large group of enemies that you know you can kill fairly quickly, you can put out something like the Mass Confusion and say, okay, cool, now I have zombie dogs. Works for me here. Now, of course, you can only have 3 dogs unless you have passes on. Ultimately, I will be looking into making a summoner build with 5 dogs. Whether I'll keep it or not, I don't know. I may put Grasp of the Dead back on just because the Locusts, while nice, I have damage increasing items. Alright, I put out the Confusion.
I do not have enough mana.
I got plenty of orbs here, ready to heal me. This build's working really well for me, actually. Alright, let's go get him with the damage. So I popped them out, and you can see quite a bit of damage went out right away. Uh-oh. Yeah, thank you, Cormac. Now I've got a bunch of the little guys out there doing damage. Avoiding Orbiter. You know, as an affix, I really like the way Orbiter looks. It can be quite dangerous, too, if you're not paying attention. I think it's not one of the most dangerous ones. Frozen Pulse definitely is one that I have to be careful of, because if you don't notice it, it can do a lot of damage. Arcane is still one of the primary killers. I like having the dogs, though, in addition to this. I'm keeping my distance more than anything. Locust Swarm is really not going to help me too much if I'm keeping my distance. So let's put Grasp back on. I can reduce the cooldown. I can give myself a chance to get a zombie dog or a globe. I could really work on that, but I've got some additional damage on it. So maybe I will just put the damage up. Or, you know, the slow. Let's do the slow, because this is a build where I have to be careful about enemies possibly getting up on me. And I want to have a way of getting away from them should I need it.
I need mana.
Resplendent Chest, go ahead and get that. Now, something about Resplendent Chest here is Blizzard has acknowledged that they feel like Resplendent Chests don't quite drop enough. People have been kind of complaining about it, and they're like, yes, we agree. Resplendent Chests do need a little bit of buffing. There is going to... They haven't done it yet, as far as I'm aware. I haven't seen any hotfixes for it, so I'm still waiting to see this happen. But they say they want to make Resplendent Chests more resplendent. Isn't that nice? They want to make it more of its adjective. Whatever works. If they make it better, I'll be happy. Because there are some resplendent chests that just don't feel like they drop a lot. Some do. This one, not too bad. Anything good? Offhand. Boots. Wood Spirit Barrage. Yes, but I'm not using that, am I? No, I'm not. So, not going to worry about that. Was there anything else? No, there was not. Okay, are we good here? We are good here, I do believe. We have gone through the Lost Mine level 2. The Resplendent Chest was up here, but there is no way out. That is okay, that's over there. Well, I guess there's no point in not fully exploring the cave. Appears we've got a little bit more over here. There's been some scattered enemies. Had this group of 3 plague nests to deal with. You see I just dropped my Fetish army on it, using the rune to do damage around it. Now I want to make sure that is... Okay, the rune is on there. I have run into some issues, and it doesn't happen all the time, but I have run into some issues where some of my runes sometimes drop off of a skill, and I end up using the base skill. I'm not sure what's been causing it. There are still some bugs with the game, even out of beta, and it's bound to happen with so many changes. They have been fairly quick to fix some, but there are some others that are still lingering that are not mostly game-breaking, so I don't think it's going to be a big deal if they don't get to those right away. Now, just kind of a dead end here, unfortunately. So another elite pack here, back in the Field of Misery. We've got knockback and fast, so that's nothing too bad. Should be able to deal with that. As I'm killing off this elite pack and going through the Fields of Misery, I kind of want to talk a little bit about something I've gone over in the past few videos about item drops and how they feel so far in the game, especially as leveling. I had mentioned that it just doesn't feel like things have dropped quite a bit, and it was very difficult to maintain the difficulty level, which it has been. Of course, that is to say, Torment is designed around having a lot of gear. Of course, when you're leveling, you kind of need the gear in order to keep up with it. It's just it's a circle. It's a circle. It happens. But one thing I found out as I was playing up in the higher levels, 60 to 70, playing Act 5, I started finding a ton of items. Like I was filling up my inventory regularly. Whereas in the beginning, it doesn't feel like I do it as often. So I almost feel like what they've done is made it so that intentionally items don't drop as much in the beginning, and they drop more later. That could be an effect of the acts, though, because Act 1 could just not have a lot of places where items drop, where Act 5, by opposition, has a ton of clickable objects, things to break, and things that just will give you items. It is like there is no shortage of things dropping onto the ground in Act 5. And that very well could be the reason why items feel like they drop more often. Because with more chances for items to drop, obviously, the more items actually will drop. It could just be a thing about leveling. You know, maybe things drop more at higher difficulties. But I can certainly say that I am not feeling want for items by level 70 usually. And honestly, it's felt that way even going back to some of the earlier acts, so it makes me feel like maybe it is a level thing where things just start dropping more. I don't know. But then again, going back to earlier acts usually entailed being in adventure mode, which meant there was more density, more monsters, more chances, again, to drop loot. So it could just be that what I have been seeing, is a function of losing that monster density that was around. I mean, that's entirely possible. I mean, with the reduced item drops, you kind of need something to compensate for it. And monster density kind of was that thing, in a way. I just find it to be a very interesting topic, a very interesting phenomenon, I suppose. Is it detrimental? No, not really. I mean, it just means you have to find a good leveling spot, and I think Master may just be that leveling spot. Of course, If you're new to the game, you don't have Master, so you'd have to go down to, what is it, Hard? No, Expert, yes. Which could work. I went back and I tried Expert. I'm doing Expert on a lower level character just to see how it feels. Say for the next time I do a series, maybe I might want to do Expert instead of Master, and I've just noticed that I'm really not in danger of dying for the most part when I'm on Expert. So there we go. Feel the misery waypoint. So I'm thinking that I'm really thinking that Master is the place I'm going to want to be and want to stay. I still have 3 dogs, so don't really need any more, but I'm just going to go ahead and put the confusion out there. Kind of a waste if I confuse them and then kill them, isn't it? You might want to be more mindful of that. With Cormac's healing and the way things are going with this build, I almost feel like I may not be in much danger of dying here either. Things are going swimmingly, as it were. Swimmingly. Yes.
To the death!
To the death. Such violence. Such violence. Fetish army is kind of neat. I don't think it's a skill I overly care for. I think I would just rather have a gargantuan. Big bad dude, voodoo. I did it again. Doo-doo. It seems like the other alternative that I would probably go for. Now, I haven't ever gotten all of the runes, as far as I can recall, for the army, so maybe there is one of them I would like. I think there is a legendary that I might like with them, though, is I think one that makes them last pretty much forever. That seems like it would be a good legendary to have, to use that, just to try that skill on. As a whole, I'm not a big fan of it, at least at this level, this as its base mechanic. I mean, sure, it's kind of nice to have a lot of the little guys following me, but they don't last for too terribly long. How long do they last? 20 seconds? Yeah, 20 seconds is actually a good amount. I would rather just rely on the Sycophants passive to get them rather than summon them for a brief duration on a skill on my bar. As opposed to the dogs, where I usually prefer to have the dogs on my bar rather than summon them for other skills. Although I have to admit, this mass confusion thing is rather working. My dogs are lasting. So I might end up changing my mind on that. Thing about these little guys is that they don't have hit points, they don't die, whereas the dogs do. So it's kind of a important point of distinction. Alright, I need to get myself to the Khazra Den so we can get through it. So we can meet Linden and switch out our followers. Now, because it's been a while and I don't remember everything he said, I am going to go through all of his conversation options again, even though it's kind of a repeat of some of them. It's okay, because we only got up to Act 2 last time, and so there shouldn't be too much that's repeated. And it's been a while. I mean, it's been over a year, obviously, so maybe you'd like a recap. I know I would. Especially since he's one of the more interesting characters that I'm interested in following come Act 5. Now, even though I have gotten to Act 5 with several characters and gone through the story with several characters, I have not actually sat down and talked to all the NPCs, gotten and absorbed the story. I've actually only done the main storyline, so I haven't done any of the follower-specific stuff, which, as I understand, is in the game. They're going to have follower-specific quests, and I would like to learn more about the guys that I party with. I like their personalities and their backstories. Cormac's is, you kind of feel for the guy. I mean, he's basically always been told that he was a criminal. Turns out he may not have been. He was indoctrinated, pretty much. You've got Lyndon, who's got his, issues with his family, with his brother. I have to actually talk to him a bit more to get back on that story. I remember it definitely interests me that I believe, what was it? He sends money back. He actually steals for a good cause, for his family. You actually think of him as this kind of scoundrel, this rogue that he would just as soon steal the shirt off your back than care about you, and then he's actually doing it for a reason. And I'd like to find out more about that. Now, Irana, the Enchantress, I don't know much about her. I mean, I've read her story, and it seems like there's some interesting stuff there. They try to tie it into the angels, where her mentor was an angel. And that is interesting. I'd like to know more about what happened there with her and her sisters, but the other two just seem to have much more going for them in terms of what I'm looking for in the stories. Alright, I am running out of time, so I'm going to do a little less talking, more killing, and finding myself a KageKaze den.
What I seek must be inside.
Well, it took a little bit of doing, but finally got here to the KageKaze den. Shouldn't take too much to complete it as of yet. I have not lost a single zombie dog, seeing as how my Mass Confusion is the only way to get them. I have been using it every now and then, but I just haven't seen the number go down where I felt like I needed to use it to get a dog back. I've just been using it to kind of make things more interesting.
We must hurry with the ritual. Manga will be here soon. It is turning.
No spirit walk means I really have to get out of that.
Stranger's light surrounds this soul piece.
Well fought, but you will never possess the next piece. It has fallen where only the ancients may tread.
You gotta love the way she sits there, she taunts you, tells you exactly where it is, where you can get the next item. Of course, you could say, well, she's doing that on purpose, she wants you to go and get it, because she can't get it. Yet she appears before you in the Ancient's Lair, like after you prove yourself at the Nephilim trials and get the last piece. And it's like, okay. That's a little odd. She could get there anyway, it seemed like. Or at least it was a projection of her, so maybe it wasn't her. But then again, some of her cultists show up. But is it because you unlocked the door that they could do that? It's not really explained, obviously, so you don't really know. But then ultimately, she waits for you to get all the pieces together anyway, and then she takes the pieces away from you, right? So, okay, that's fine. That's villainy. That's good. But then she taunts you about it. She's like, I've taken it and I've got Cain and... what? Wait, why are you telling me this? You should maybe make me wonder some more. Maybe I won't get back in time to stop you. Ultimately, you don't. But... which is bollocks, I might add. Once again, I have to talk about dying to butterflies. You have to keep reminding me it's a wound in the pride. Stop it. Poor Deckard. Poor Deckard.
The light grows stronger within.
The good news, we have hit level 35. Haunt Rune, Lingering Spirit. Oh, Reign of Toads. Alright, now that might be one I actually am okay with using. Wall of Zombies, Unrelenting Grip. think I'm going to rebuild here from the ground up. Take a look at what I've got. It's going to be quite a bit different. I have to remember I have poison damage on. Alright, let's rebuild.
Those trees. Be on your guard.
Alright, new primary skill. Plague of Toads becomes Rain of Toads. Toads rain from the sky, deal 182% weapon damage as poison to enemies in the area over 2 seconds. So it says in the area, which means it implies that there is a small area of effect around it. Which may very well be true. It doesn't have much of a radius, though. The enemies pretty much have to be standing practically on top of each other, I imagine, to actually get that radius. 182 over 2 is not too bad. Let's compare to, say, the splinters we've been using. 65 over 3, which is 195, excuse me. We have corpse spiders that do 216 or 238. And this is Rain of Toads that does 182. So it's a little less, but it attacks pretty fast. I mean, it's over 2 seconds that it does that, so it's multiple ticks. It's pretty spammable. So 182 over that 2 seconds. Let's just kind of see what it actually is. 91 weapon damage a second. So that seems a bit lower, but it might be fine. We'll go ahead and do it. It is poison damage, so it will get upgraded. It's much better than the normal Toads, at the very least. We've got Haunt, Lingering Spirit. If there are no enemies left, the spirit will linger for up to 10 seconds, looking for new enemies. So that's good. I can put it on an enemy, maybe the enemy dies, the spirit lingers for a bit waiting for the next one to come, because sometimes it can happen where an enemy dies outside of the path of the group, or, you know, you put it on someone, maybe they die, you know, just a bit away. You can ultimately, it'll find another enemy because it gets near them. Ultimately, it's not really a skill that I overly care for because I think some of the other ones are a bit better. It's not often that you put a spirit on something and it dies and then you can lead something back in time, because it's 10 seconds that it lingers, and then it's also, how long does it last? 6 seconds that it actually hurts the enemy. So it's not something you can easily plan. It's something I think that just has to happen on its own. Going into the decay, we've got Wall of Zombies again. It looks like we're getting Unrelenting Grip. The Wall of Zombies will slow the movements of enemies by 60% for 5 seconds. So not only does it block them, but when it hits them, they will be slowed. So it's a lot harder for them to get around the wall. So I'm kind of liking certain things here. I'm kind of liking the fact that I was getting zombie dogs for free, but it has to happen on death when they get hit. So I'm not sure if I want to continue to use Mass Confusion for that. I definitely could use either ways to escape or ways to get health back. So once again, I'd be looking at Soul Harvest. Spirit Walk is definitely another one I could look into because of Jaunt. Of course, I could also use it for Honored Guest in order to get mana back as well. The large Horrify wasn't bad. I didn't really use it that much with this current build just because I'm already doing okay, not really taking a lot of damage. The difficulty being reduced has really helped with that. I'm going to get rid of the Fetish army. Let's go back to the Gargantuan. And I need to decide what else to get. So I have Soul Harvest and Mass Confusion. Put the Gargantuan there. I think what I want to do is instead of getting Soul Harvest, maybe I will get Mass Confusion. Let's do that for a bit. Let's do Mass Confusion and get a chance to do Zombie Dogs. And then for the ability to get my healing up, I'll just go ahead and use Hex. And we'll use Hedge Magic, I think. So that'll get me a bit health back when I need it. Excellent. So I'm gonna move these around though because I want to have an easily reachable wall of zombies. And I've got my Hex ready, and then Mass Confusion. Yeah, I think this will work. We'll give this a shot. Now my poison damage is only coming from toads, unfortunately. But let's go ahead and show off the toads. And as you can see, they rain down, they fall very quickly. So
I am returning to town.
it's going to hit quite a bit.
The sword
Alright, we're going to go help out Linden. Real quick, I'm going to check for... We're going to go and do the crafting now, since we're about to go into a fight for Linden. And let's go ahead and just double check everything. Everything here was already verified to be pretty bad, or not anything I could really use. Armor with no upgrade, shoulder with no upgrade. I don't need a shield. Here is another rare shield with, wow, 36% toughness increase because of the vitality on it. It's got a good amount of intelligence as well, but the damage overrides that right now at this level. So we're not going to worry about that. We'll go ahead and check to see if there's anything to forge that we can use for a weapon. I've got a 67.9 ceremonial knife. So let's see, 40 to 60, what is that? Required level 34. Could still be better, 46. With the damage that rolled, yeah, it could be. So what's higher? 46. 46 so far. Two-handed, I'm not using those. So I can go ahead and try and roll something here. What do we have? 2, 6, and 6. I'm doing pretty good on each of the materials. So I'm thinking we go ahead and make one of these just in case, see if it comes any better. Yes, it does. 102. 18.2% damage increase, 15.5% toughness. What do I lose? I lose resource reduction, which kind of sucks. I lose life on hit as well, so I'm losing quite a bit of healing. But life on hit right now is only at 41. I'm fine. I'm dealing with the damage I'm taking with skills. I've got a ruby, so I can just go ahead and throw this on there. We can see where it goes up, 18 to 28. So we'll take that. 28% additional damage. I'm going to go from 1,000 damage, 1,050 to 1,350. So that's pretty good. Now, as far as the offhand, the mojo, I have a level 25 here. It looks like I already have a level 25, so we'll leave that be. Going into armor. I have found some set items, which I really can't use, though, because I only have one fiery brimstone. I've only found one legendary that I decided to disenchant. Now, I could disenchant my crown and get another one, maybe create another helm to replace it so that I can make one of these set pieces, but it doesn't seem worth it if I can't get all the set pieces and just use them, so I probably won't. But we will take a look, make sure there isn't anything else that we can use at this time. There is what looks like to be a better helm, so what I will do is I'll go ahead and make that. And it looks like I finally have enough tiers to be able to do that. Because normally the gloves also take 6 as well. Those are like the two ones that take the most. So if we do can equip, I come back down here, we'll do, go to gloves, we can see the adepts here, those take 6 as well. I am well above that, though. The next up would be Kane's set here, which, you know, again, would be really nice to have because the increased bonus experience on that. It's also got some Magic Find, which wouldn't hurt. Unfortunately, Magic Find being severely reduced in this Reaper of Souls. 100% of your Magic Find counts towards blues, so that 30% would give me 30% increase in blues over whites, but it would only give me about 25% of that for yellows, and only 10%, which means a 3% increase in legendary drops. Which is kind of a shame. But I think I will make a helm, because this looks like this is a possibility of being better. Because it's got 4 random properties, which can roll primary and secondary. Let's go ahead and make one, because I do have enough tiers for that. I'm not going to spend too many tiers, I don't think. Oh, and it did not roll very well for me at all. Wow. I got zombie charger damage by 12%, which is very nice, but the damage reduction due to the loss of intelligence is 13%. So ultimately, that's a damage loss no matter which way you look at it. Because even if I use zombie charger, that's 12 with 13%. That means I'm still losing 1.7% damage. And that's on one skill. Everything else goes down. So that was a gamble, and unfortunately, I lost that gamble. I could make a pair of pants because that does not require tears. Let's go ahead and do that. Looks like firebomb damage and some sockets. I am going to lose some toughness though. For 6% damage, I think that is doable. Let's go ahead and grab some of these topazes to make it more desirable. See, it goes down up to 9.3 damage, 6.4 toughness lost. I can deal with that. And then if I decide to go back to firebomb, I can. So as you can see, pants, once again, primary skill, a generator. Alright, I think that's it. Shoulders, I'm like right at the bottom end of those shoulders. 4 and 5. Yeah, let's do it, because I'm not too fond of the grasp of the dead one. Let's just make one more. Locust Swarm with Vitality. Yeah. Not rolling well today, am I? Once again, it is a gamble. I've lost this round. I'm not going to Vegas. Wouldn't be prudent. Alright, before we go out, it does look like Miriam does have something to talk about. Oh, it's going into the Drowned Temple, so this is for the next part after we find Linda. But let's go ahead and talk to her about it.
The foul witch waits for you to unseal the temple of the ancients, that she may strike. Her master would sacrifice anything to control the destiny of the stranger. I would tell you to be careful, but you wouldn't listen, would you?
So it does seem she does have a little bit of that clairvoyance, doesn't she? Alright, so there is one thing I kind of forgot about when it comes to Haunt. Like if I put it out there, you see it does come back to me. So I can put it on myself before I engage, and it will go and find a monster. So there is that. That is nice. That I didn't actually think about. But there is something else about Haunt with this rune that's quite nice, and it comes in the form of the Cursed Chest events. And that's Cursed Chest events, especially ones that have waves, will sometimes have this moment where there's a lapse of monsters coming at you, and so you're sitting there waiting for the next wave to appear. And having that spirit hit back to you and before it goes out again can be very useful for something like that. Because you can see the toads just rain on down. Hey, I found an amulet. That's kind of nice. And a decent pair of pants. Pair of pants, which may actually be an upgrade to what I'm using already. It's got more vitality. It doesn't have the intelligence. Yeah, I would ultimately lose damage even if I socketed it. But I would gain some toughness, which I'm not too worried about. I like the fact that it's got abyssal dye on it. That's the black dye. Speaking of which, I didn't look at my character when I did this. Not too much different just yet. Although he is wielding an axe like he wants to chop open that snake. You know. Alright, vitality, critical hit damage, and critical hit chance. Ultimately, lowering my damage but increasing my toughness. I am going to lose poison skills were I to use that. Now, right now, I'm not using a lot of poison skills, just the toad.
I am inspired by
But it is that 140 vitality can be quite a bit. That's 18% toughness. Not only that, some critical hit damage and chance will ultimately be better down the line. The 5 to 10 damage is nice now, but once I get higher weapon damage and once I get higher intelligence, ultimately the damage won't be as important. I think I might actually want to use this just because it does give me some toughness. I'm not really suffering from the need of it yet, but I like having the critical hit damage and the chance rather than just the damage increase. So we're going to go ahead and do that because I think that'll become important as we go. Alright, I don't have any dogs, so what I should probably do is put out the confusion. Try and get some dogs. Doesn't look like I got any. So the downside to this build I'm using is I don't really have any AoE. I'm basically using my toads and my wall, and that's about it. which is kind of a shame. I would really like to have some more AoE damage. Now losing that extra poison damage, I did mention that the crit and the crit damage might become better later on. The truth is that right now, the extra poison damage is actually a pretty good buff, and I am losing a lot with that. So I am losing more than it said, especially since the toads is going to be my primary source of damage now. Yeah, it is a lot slower in killing right now. And I'm still not getting dogs. Oh, really? Did I hear that? I did hear that. A belt. Alright, let's go get our Scoundrel. He should be over here. Oh, he's way down there. Alright, we're going to go get our Scoundrel. We're going to do his conversation options, and then we'll identify the belt, and then we'll end there. I think this has been a good amount of time here.
Fine, you fools. We'll kill the both of you.
Come on! Let's kill these things.
It's rather violent there, Leah, especially since they're less things than they are people. Alright, see, there's a chance right there for Haunt to actually work in my favor, because we had some downtime between the waves. Alright.
I knew you'd need my help.
We have the Scoundrel. We're at a good point. We're going to identify the belt that we found, see if it's any good. Actually, looks like I already found a pretty nice yellow here, so we'll put this on first. And vital, regeneration, so damage, toughness, and all the like. No other upgrades, it appears. We'll go ahead and identify the belt now. And instant upgrade. Actually, this is pretty nice. Huaj Wrap. Int, Vital, Resol. So really nice defensive. And it's got some decent damage on it as well. Plague of Toads. Well, I guess I'm going to use Plague of Toads for a bit longer. That's the one thing I kind of wish would have rolled differently. But the rest of it is really nice. It increases gold and health pickup radius. That's not bad. The special property is that the Locust Swarm slows enemies by 80%. That's nice. Locust Swarm is one of my favorites. So I'm going to use that. I'm going to be slowing enemies down like crazy because of this legendary. I lose the healing, I lose regeneration, whatever. It says it's a lot. It really isn't. We'll get rid of that, and we will go ahead and salvage, and that's it. That's it for now. I don't have any weapons to give the Scoundrel, but I can give him a relic that I have here. So let's go ahead and give him this, the Dex Vitality. His damage goes from 24 to 53. As far as his abilities, I've got Crippling Shot, ranged attack that deals 140 weapon damage, slows enemies hit, and then Poison Bolts, ranged attack that deals 320 weapon damage, and additional 100 as poison. That's kind of nice. Because I'm more of a ranged character, I kind of would like the enemies to be slowed, although I'm going to be using Locust Swarm, so I don't really need him to slow the enemy. So great, this legendary, this belt, is already changing how I'm going to set up my Scoundrel. So I'm going to give him the ranged attack that does more damage as poison. He has Dirty Fighting, 6-second cooldown, blinds nearby enemies in front of the Scoundrel for 2 seconds, and Vanish. He will vanish in a cloud of smoke when injured, reappearing after 4 seconds. While vanished, he will heal himself for 4,693 life. That's kind of nice to keep him in the fight. I'm not really sure which one I like better. Dirty Fighting is pretty nice because it can do some blind and stunning the enemy, keeping them away. Vanish does keep him alive. This is kind of a hard tier to choose. I do like, once again, I've mentioned it before when getting Cormac, that all the skills have been buffed for the Scoundrel. They all work a lot better. I'm going to go ahead and go with Dirty Fighting on this one. We have Power Shot, ranged attack that explodes on impact. It does 310 weapon damage as arcane to targets within 10 yards. 100% chance to stun for 2 seconds. And then we have, of course, Multi-Shot. Shoots 3 bolts, each dealing 110% weapon damage when he activates it every 8 seconds. Passively, it has a 50% chance that special abilities will fire 3 bolts. So special abilities can fire up to 3, 50% chance. I think that has a pretty good chance of damage. Multi-shot I still think is pretty nice. Powered shot, though, does have the stun, which can be nice once again to keep the enemy away. Considering that the enemy, once again, will be slowed by 80% for a good majority of the time, I think I'm going to go ahead and go with multi-shot in this one. Now, lastly, Hysteria. When you are the Scoundrel and land a critical hit, you will both go into hysterics. It increases your damage by 3% for 3 seconds. And then, of course, Anatomy, which increases your critical hit chance by 1.8% for you and the Scoundrel. That's a tough call. Both are nice. I mean, if I crit, we get more damage, or here we just overall get more crit chance. My crit hit chance is 9.5. So that's not too bad. If I were to go into this, that would at least give me a 10, almost 11% chance. Which is reason why I got this as well. If I get more crit chance, this will be a nice setup to have. Right now, I don't think I crit enough. We'll go ahead and go into Anatomy. And what I'll do is, while I can, I'm just going to go ahead and forge a weapon. I'm going to forge a crossbow. I believe, hopefully the crossbows I can't use, because I don't want it to spawn with intelligence. I really just don't want intelligence on it. So let's go ahead, look through here. Mojo, mighty weapon, mace, hand, crossbow, flail, fist, daibo, dagger, crossbow. Level 70, level 60, level 60. Really? Really? I have no words. I have no words on that one. He cannot use one-handed crossbows. If I roll a bow, it'll probably have intelligence. I might as well do it. I just might as well do it, because it's going to be better than what he's using. That's a 44-1. This is an 11-6. And you know what I might do? Let's do it. Let's re-roll the stat, because I do have the Mystic, even though you wouldn't get her to Act 5. Let's just get him something decent. It's going to cost me the reagents that I've found anyway. So, alright, weapons, bow. Siege bow, 44.1. It is going to cost me a couple tiers, and of course the other essences. Let's just do it. There we go. Oh, it didn't roll with intelligence, so I don't have to go and reforge it. Great, it's an 80. That's even better. So, let's get your damage up, shall we? Toughness, 5242, and damage 54. So let's put this on.
Suits me.
375. Not bad. Not bad. Well, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. Me and my Scoundrel going to move on into the next area. Get you a quick look once again at the gear. Nothing, I don't think really anything's changed, because the belt you can't see. But I'll rebuild the build for something around the Plague of Toads and Locust Swarm to base it around the belt, especially since I just got Locust Swarm. Or sorry, Reign of Toads. So I'll keep that, and then I'll see about making a build around it that's a little bit better, a little more AoE, I think, and also still use the poison, but I'll do that next time. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. It has certainly been a pleasure.